I said I was going to make a video. Unfortunately, I have run out of a lot of space on my phone. So I'm just going to do this live. Yeah. I was asked what apps do I use for language learning, and the truth of the matter is I don't like apps for language learning. So I decided to share my expensive habits, but I've gotten better. I've gotten better, okay? So, as you guys may know, I love languages. And please don't take this video as, oh, I'm gonna try to top her, it's not that. I'm just showing what I use to help me, and it's not a competition. It's not me showing off. Whatever else you guys come up with in y'all heads when you watching a video and then you come back with these comments like you totally did not listen to the topic or whatever. This is not to say, oh, you didn't do it or you don't have it. Hey, Boss Lady Denise. So feel free to just watch if you're interested in how I learned a little bit that I know. I don't know a whole lot. I didn't go to college for it. I did not go to college. You do not have to tell me I'm a college graduate, I'm this, that, and that. Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying I'm not a college graduate, but one of my dreams was to go to college, and it just didn't pan out that way. So, yeah, this is how I picked up on a few languages. I'm not the best at all of them. Some of them I'm stronger in than others. Pre-retirement days. You know what? I enjoyed your video where you was talking about scrolling, and you was saying like, do we do that with everything? Do we do that with God? Do we just scroll? You made a lot of sense. But anyway, I'm getting off subject. Y'all know I do that sometimes, but I enjoyed that video. I actually watched it twice. But y'all, I'm a big nerd, and I didn't accept the fact that I was until I was in my late 30s. So I just wanted to answer the question somebody had about the apps. I tried using apps. Let me put these down. This is just a few of the things that I use for language learning. That's why I said it's very expensive. I've calmed down a lot, a whole lot. But when I tried using apps, I didn't stick with it. I would do it some days and some days I wouldn't. It was just a hot mess. And then if y'all notice, when I'm like dancing around in my room, I have this one corner over there that's always loaded with like books and boxes. That's my language corner. So I use flashcards. I told you guys I'm better with learning phrases, and we call them chunks in the language learning community. I'm better with learning in chunks, and every once in a while picking up new vocabulary. Y'all stick with me. But that was the way I could pick up on languages, is by reading. I would get the fundamentals first, as far as how to pronounce the lettering, and the proper terms for the different genders. That's what I would start with, so that when I'm reading, I can kind of catch on a little bit better. But I want to say something about living languages. I did the living languages for French, and the concept was good because you're pretty much listening and repeating everything. And oh yeah, so you're pretty much listening and repeating, listening and repeating. Hey Tam Tam, and this really helped me a lot with knowing how to pronounce things and sounding as French as possible. And I lost a lot of my French connection, my French studies when I was in the hospital. I was told it was because I had chemo brain, but it had gotten to the point where I would study, or I would do a 30-minute lesson, and then I would totally forget everything that I just practiced. So this is what I was using for French. It's called Living Language, and it's really good. It actually comes with, let me see. It does the listen and repeat, but it also comes with the booklet. So yeah, that's it's a lot, but if you break it down and do it like 30 minutes a day, me personally, sometimes if I don't catch on right away, I'll do the same 30-minute lesson for like 3 days in a row, and I would just walk around the house and keep saying those same concepts and same phrases over and over again while I'm walking around the house. Sometimes I would walk around the house and say the items around the house over and over and over again in that language. And this was a big help for French, but I have to start back over from square one because I lost a lot of my French with my chemo. I don't know why. Mandarin Chinese. The Pimsleur method. The Pimsleur method is pretty much the same thing. The only thing is the Pimsleur method is going to give you a scenario. It's going to give you a situation. And you're going to hear everything in that language first. And then it's going to come across, hello, Boston Sports Cards. Yes, I'm having a great day. Thank you. So the Pimsleur method is my absolute favorite go-to. You can buy it in sections. You don't have to buy the whole volume all at once. You can, but you don't have to. So what I would do is I would get like this one is the basic. Get the basic Mandarin Chinese, and it'll be maybe 30 or 40 bucks. Get that. Once again, like I said, do your 30 minutes every day. If you didn't catch on that first time, go ahead and repeat it. It says don't repeat and just continue. But for me personally, if I didn't get it the first time, I'm going to repeat it. And they say don't write anything or whatever. Y'all, I jot down notes. I sure do. What else? My absolute, well, let me talk about Twi, because a lot of people was like, Twi, what is Twi? Twi is a language that's spoken in Ghana. They are an English-speaking country, but this is my book for learning Twi. It's a little old, so y'all excuse how old and dingy it looks. But this book for Twi, it ran me about, let me see if the price is still on there. It was about $15, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the price on there, but that's the book. And this one is the Pimsleur method for Twi. Like I said, my stuff is old, y'all. I've been doing this for a long time, so please don't judge me. But this is the Twi Pimsleur method. You listen, you repeat. You listen, you repeat. That's it. But this box was about 40 bucks. My absolute favorite for Spanish was the Oxford Picture Dictionary. The reason why I love the Oxford Picture Dictionary was because it breaks it down, and it does like introduction, then it does like in the classroom, in the office, in the home, and it gives you different vocabulary. And like I said, you could walk around your house and you could say like la ventana, la cama, puerta, televisión. You can use your book, jot down the key words that you want to really catch on to, and just start repeating it throughout the day. But I love this book because it breaks it down in, sections. It does the workplace, it does hotels, jobs, transportation, emergencies. This book right here, hey, Oprah White. So this was my absolute favorite when it came down to Spanish. This book I got at Barnes & Noble, which our Barnes & Noble is no more. And I used to love taking the kids to Barnes & Noble on Saturday morning for story time, but they're gone now. So, yeah. Sad situation. But this book, if I can remember, was about 25 bucks. Yep. This was a while ago. I got this book about I want to say 8 years ago. How old is Baby Cinco? Baby Cinco will be 9. So I got this book about 9 years ago. Yeah. This is another one. There's my curtain, y'all. So this is another one of my absolute favorites. I actually have this book on my audiobook as well, because sometimes when I'm just doing something random around the house, like cleaning or whatever, I like to listen to something in the background. Now I listen to more of people's lives who, I'm missing Miss Patty's live now. I'm going to go back to hers. Got her on the TV, but I'm going to go back to hers so that I can leave a comment. I'm going to start trying to leave comments more. But I have this one on the audiobook on my phone as well, so that when I'm doing something, if I want to hear something in the background, I just go ahead and play this on the audiobook. You're listening while working? Thank you, Eric. You know what, Eric? This morning you got me. You got me with the... It's gonna be May. Y'all go check out. That's the Burpee King over there. So, okay. And since I love learning different languages at one time, I thought it would be a good idea to pick up a couple of books just for learning multiple languages, like these. And I actually liked them until I started to get bored. I get bored very easily, and I'm like, okay, I need another method. So when I get really bored with my methods that I'm using, I'll start watching kid shows in that language, in my language that I'm trying to achieve. Like I would watch Peppa Pig in set language, or I would watch on YouTube what is it called, Rock and Learn, like Rock and Learn Spanish, Rock and Learn French, just things like that. I would take the kids shows and I would just watch it once again when I'm doing something. Every once in a while, if it's something that I feel like I really, really want to know, I will jot it down and I will just keep repeating it through the day. Another one, these some of my notes. But yeah, I write notes when I'm learning. And if it's a phrase that I really, really want to get, I'm going to write it down. They'll say, oh, no, don't jot down notes. Just keep saying it. I jot it down and I say it a couple of times through the day. I try to use it in the proper context. And then before you know it, I'm saying it without even thinking twice about it, because I have said it so much and I make sure I'm looking at it so I'm saying it right. But I also do books like this where you are learning Spanish, but you're reading a short story. So sometimes you might come across words that you don't quite get just yet. Let me see if I can get it where y'all can see. I hope y'all can see that. But it will have everything in Spanish, but underneath it would be in English. I'm trying to get it where y'all can see. I hope y'all can see. But I do a ton of these. Let me show y'all another one. That's why I said this is kind of, it gets expensive. And this one is another one that has chunks. This book has chunks also, so you learn phrases. My twins are at my door, and he's laughing every time he hears my voice. So, as you guys can see, it'll have it in Spanish, and then it will have it underneath in English. I do tons and tons of those. This is not even half of my stuff, y'all. I have old workbooks that I have found in the Goodwill. This one I found in the Goodwill for like 25 cents. I kid you not. This is kind of like a Spanish workbook, but it's for kids. But like I said, I use a lot of what? Hey, grow joyfully. I use a lot of what is supposed to be used for kids learning, like the different clothes that they wear, or I love learning instruction. Like I love learning how to say, put that here or take that over there. I love to learn how to say I want or I need, or you want, you need. So these kid books are very good for learning stuff like that. This not, let me see. I told y'all I got so many, they just all around really. But I try to keep them over in my language learning corner. But this is another one that's for kids, and I go over it with my kids, but I'm learning from it as well. It's kind of like the book of my first 100 words, but it's a Spanish and English dictionary. And you just go through and you learn as you go. And no shame in my game. Sometimes when I was first learning Spanish, I would get a book like this or have a book like this, and I would keep it on the same page for like a week. And I would just keep going over every day, each item, a couple of times a day for like a week. I would keep the same page open. Yes. Oh, I also got this one at the Goodwill too. This is something that has nothing to do with language learning, but I used to work with baby Cinco because when he was in childcare, his teacher used to complain about him all the time, like, he don't know how to do nothing. He don't do this, he don't do that. And I said, give me 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks and I'll show you how you're really supposed to do when a child come into your class and you feel like they're not on the level they're supposed to be at. You don't judge a child. You don't say, well, I don't want this child around me unless they know how to do this. Take the time and teach the child. So what I did was I went to the Goodwill, and y'all can see because it still has the sticker on there. I went to the Goodwill and I purchased a bunch of these old practice workbooks, and I had baby Cinco every morning just work on a page, and we would make the book, because you make a book in here. You make a book, and then you just hand over hand. I'm a big believer in hand over hand. When they're like 2-3 years old, hand over hand, I would just guide his hand and I would tell him he got it, keep going. And when he started pre-K, I started him at another school. When he started pre-K, the teacher, she came out, she had a nasty attitude. I was like, oh my goodness, and then I pulled him out of that pre-K because of this. So when I came back to pick him up, she had a nasty attitude when I dropped him off. And I was like, oh my God, I got to leave my baby here because I got to go to work. And she already got a nasty attitude. When I came to pick him up that same day, she was like, do you know he know his name? He know how to spell his name. He went straight to his cubby. He went straight to his seat. And I was like, yes, I'm the one taught him. Like, she was saying it like it was going to be a shock to me. I'm his mom. You don't think I know he know how to spell his name? I've been working with him because another teacher said he couldn't do anything. That's what you do with a child. You don't push a child out because they don't know how to do something. You sit there and you work with them and teach them. And I told my husband, I said, give me 2 weeks. I'm pulling him out of school. And my husband was like, okay. So I stopped working, pulled my son out of that daycare that I was working at, and I sat at home with him. And in 2 weeks, he was reading. He knew his letters. He was writing his name. And I have some video, so I'm going to show y'all that video in a short later. Nice to see you, Nova. I was so happy to see you dancing and smiling. Please keep dancing and smiling. I was so happy to see that. So this is one of my oldest methods of learning language, y'all. And you're going to know it's old when I show you. Whew. It's very old to the point where I have to be very careful. CDs. Who still do CDs? I did. So I learned a lot from this company. They don't do any of this anymore, but it's called Visual Links. But what you do is you practice the CD and you log on and do the lessons online, and it all comes together. Whatever you practiced on that CD, when you get online to do your like 30 minutes of that lesson, eventually you start to pick up on it. Visual Links was very cheap back then. This is very old. This is about 15 years. Yeah, I've had this for about 15 years. This is Spanish learning on CDs, y'all. So like I said, this is not even half of them. I just brought over what I thought y'all might be interested in. If you start doing language learning, do not do like a lot of people do. They make the mistake of diving in and trying to be like the top dog within the first like 30 days or the top dog in the first 7 days. If you do that, you're going to eventually lose it. My advice, find what method works for you and take your time. Learn the things that you know you're going to be using every day. If you're a gardener, learn how to say things like garden or working in the garden or my garden tools. Learn how to say I'm outside. Stuff like that. If you're always in the kitchen, learn how to say the things that are in the kitchen utensils. I'm cooking today. That's how I learn languages. I learn with the phrases that I know I may have to use around my kids. My kids would tell people like they don't know Spanish, but if I tell them right now something to do in Spanish, they'll do it. They just prefer English, which is weird because a lot of kids that have a Spanish speaking parent, they prefer English once they start school. It's almost like the school wants them to only speak in English, which I understand, but it's weird how the child come home and they only prefer English. So y'all, that's just a little smidget of what I use with my language learning. It's not the best of the best, but I feel like I can get by in certain situations because I know keywords. I know how to speak respectfully. They always say learn the formal and learn the y'all always learn the formal, always learn the respectful manner, always learn how you would speak to your elders. It will help you in the long run because some people in some countries, when they see that you're speaking to them like you're talking to your friends or something like that, they take it as a big disrespect, and you may see it as like no big deal or whatever. But please take it from me. It's best to always learn the respectful ways of doing things. Even with their culture, it's best to, I like the books too because it'll teach you some of the cultures along the way, how to eat properly, how to what's something else, using the restroom properly because everybody don't use the bathroom the same way. So that's all I have for y'all today. If y'all want to know anything else about me and my very expensive hobby, just let me know. And we are going to keep on working on the Spanish, the French, and the German. I did not forget. I did not put y'all off on that. We are going to continue with that. However, my in-laws are here, so I don't be want to wake people up in the morning, talking all loud or whatever. So I'm going to figure out a timing or maybe going outside and do it. I'm going to figure something out, y'all, because I really want to get German down to at least to the basics. I want to have my German down to the point where I could at least speak and be of assistance if needed or get help if I need it. So that's about it, y'all. So thank y'all for coming in with me. I really appreciate y'all. I'm doing a lot of lives and shorts now because I don't have any more space left on my phone. I couldn't even record when I finished doing my squats. So it is what it is. I'll figure it out. But until next time, gracias por ver. Thanks for watching. Adios. Bye.